People don't hate Sigma males, they just don't understand them. The world expects emotion. Sigma gives logic. The world wants comfort. Sigma gives solutions. And that one difference makes everyone call him cold. So you know that one friend who never really gets excited about stuff? The guy who stays cool when everyone else is freaking out? The person who listens to your problems and then tells you exactly what to do instead of just saying, "Oh man, that's bad." Yeah, that guy confuses people. A lot. People call him cold. They say he doesn't care. They think he's stuck up or that something's wrong with him. But here's the crazy part. None of that is actually true. There's something happening inside his brain that almost nobody understands. It's not that he's smarter. It's not that he's trying to be difficult. It's actually something much more interesting than that. Imagine this. Your best friend comes to you upset. Really upset. Maybe they failed a test, or their relationship just ended, or they messed up something important at work. They're sitting there, tears maybe, feeling broken and lost. You listen. You really listen. You understand exactly what happened and why. Then you say, "Okay, here's what you should do." And you give them the perfect solution. The actual fix that would solve their problem. But then something weird happens. Their face changes. They look hurt. Like you just made it worse. Like you don't even care about them. And you're confused because you totally understand their problem. You even fixed it. So why are they upset? This happens to certain guys all the time. And it ruins their relationships, their friendships, everything. But here's the thing. It's not their fault. The world works a certain way socially. When someone is sad, you're supposed to be sad with them. When someone is excited, you match their energy. When someone is angry, you get angry about it too. That's the dance everyone does. It's called emotional alignment. Your feelings match their feelings. That's love. That's friendship. That's being a normal human being. But some guys don't do this dance. And when they don't, people think they're broken. Someone shares happy news and expects you to jump around excited. But this guy just says, "Cool, that's good. What's your next step?" His face stays normal. Nobody sees the excitement they wanted to see. So they think, "Oh, he's not happy for me. He doesn't really care." Someone's really upset about being treated unfairly. They want you to be upset with them. They need you to say, "Yeah, that's so unfair. You're right to be angry." But this guy listens, thinks about it, and says, "Actually, let me tell you what I think happened here." He's not validating their feelings. And that makes them feel alone. Someone's stressed about making a big decision. They're going in circles, listing all their fears, asking for reassurance. This guy cuts through all of it. "Okay, here are the facts. Here's what we know. Here's what we're just guessing about. Here are the outcomes." He gives them structure and clarity. But they didn't want structure. They wanted him to say, "It'll be okay." And now they feel more alone than before. This is where the real problem starts. There's a gap between how this guy thinks and how everyone else expects people to think. And that gap creates misunderstanding after misunderstanding. People call him cold, detached, emotionless, uncaring, and arrogant. But the truth? He's actually just thinking differently. Here's what's happening. Most people navigate the world by landmarks and feelings. This feels right. This feels wrong. This feels familiar. But these guys navigate by logic and structure. Distance, direction, outcomes, consequences. What's the actual problem? What's causing it? What's the best solution? Both ways work. Both get you where you need to go. They're just completely different routes. The problem is that most people don't even know this other route exists. So when they see someone taking it, they think something's broken about them. Not that they're just different. And once that thought happens, everything changes. Everything this guy does gets filtered through that judgment. His calmness becomes coldness. His thinking becomes coldness. His problem solving becomes coldness. Every single thing gets colored by that one wrong assumption. So why are some guys wired this way? There are actually several reasons, and different people believe different things. One reason is simple. It's just how some brains are built. Some people are naturally wired to think logically first and emotionally second. Not better, not worse. Just different. Like being left-handed in a right-handed world. Another reason might be that they learned it. Maybe as kids, emotions got them in trouble. Maybe they watched emotions cause problems. Maybe they learned that feelings are unreliable, so they built a system that runs around them. Not because they don't have feelings, but because they learn not to lead with feelings. Or maybe it's experience. These guys notice early that when people act on emotions, they often regret it later. So they learn to pause. Let the feeling exist, but don't let it drive the decision. Think about what's actually true, separate from how it feels. Whatever the reason, the result is always the same. They think like computers processing information, while most people think like hearts processing feelings. And the world is built for hearts. Okay, so here's what's actually happening inside when this guy hears about your problem. The words come in. His brain processes them. But instead of stopping at the emotion and sitting with it like most people do, something different happens. His brain asks a different question. Most people ask, "How do you feel about this?" But he asks, "What does this mean?" Most people want to know, "Are you okay?" But he's thinking, what's the real problem underneath this? What caused this? What will happen if nothing changes? What needs to happen to fix this? Those questions just fire automatically. Not because he's choosing them. They're his default setting. It's like two different GPS systems. One uses landmarks and intuition. One uses coordinates and math. Both get you there. They just work totally differently. And when you use the math system in a world built on landmarks, everything feels off. This habit shows up everywhere in his life. Someone tells him good news. "I got the job." They're waiting for excitement. Maybe jumping around, celebrating, matching their energy. He says, "That's great. What's the salary? When do you start? What's the team like?" His face stays normal. They feel like he doesn't care. But he does care. He's just thinking about what this means for their future instead of matching their excitement. Someone's angry. Really angry. They got treated unfairly and they're upset. They need him to be angry with them. They need validation that their anger makes sense. He listens. He thinks about it. Then he says, "Okay, but actually here's what I think happened." He's analyzing whether the anger is actually justified or if their feelings are making them see it wrong. The person just wanted support. They got analysis instead. They feel dismissed. Someone's anxious about a huge life decision. Career change? Moving? Breaking up? They're spiraling, going in circles, listing every fear, asking for reassurance. He cuts through it all. "Stop. Here's what we know for sure. Here's what we're just guessing. Here are the 3 real outcomes. Pick the one that makes the most sense. It's perfect. It's logical. It's exactly what they need. But they didn't want to be fixed. They wanted to be comforted. They wanted someone to hold their hand and say you'll be fine. And instead, they got a structured plan, which makes them feel more anxious because now it feels like a business decision instead of a life decision. Here's what makes this so hard to understand. Sigma males are pretty rare. Most people never meet one. So people never learn the pattern. They've never seen someone think like this before. So when they meet one, their brain can't process it. It looks wrong. It looks broken. It looks like something's missing. But it's not missing. It's just different. The majority of people think one way. So that way becomes normal. Anyone who thinks differently becomes abnormal. Not because they're actually abnormal, just because there are more people thinking the other way. And here's the thing. When you can't relate to how someone thinks, it's easier to assume they're broken than to think, maybe I don't understand how they work. Understanding requires effort. Judging is faster. So people just judge. Fast. And once that judgment happens, it sticks. Here's something interesting though. This way of thinking actually has massive advantages. When everyone else is freaking out emotionally, this guy is thinking clearly. That's huge in crisis situations. Everyone's panicking, and he's the one thinking, okay, what do we actually need to do right now? When everyone else is making decisions based on feelings, he's thinking about consequences. That's why he doesn't regret decisions later. He was thinking 3 steps ahead while everyone else was thinking about right now. In relationships, when things get heated, he doesn't escalate. He looks at what's actually wrong and addresses that, instead of adding more emotion on top of the emotion that's already there. He doesn't take things personally that aren't personal. He doesn't react to anger with more anger. He fixes problems instead of making them bigger. But nobody sees this as an advantage while it's happening. It just looks cold. It only looks smart later, after the crisis passes, after the plan worked out, after everything calmed down. In the moment, it just looks like he doesn't care enough to react right. Being constantly misunderstood wears you down. Not in obvious ways. These guys don't usually complain. They don't make it visible. They don't ask for sympathy. But it adds up. Every time you try to help, and someone thinks you're cold instead of caring. Every time you give honest advice, and someone pulls away thinking you're mean. Every time you stay calm, and people think you're heartless. It keeps happening and happening. And eventually, you change. You stop offering solutions because helping gets misunderstood as not caring. You stop sharing your perspective because you learn people don't want your truth. They want agreement. You stop trying because being right doesn't matter if being right makes people feel bad. So you start keeping distance. Not because you don't care, but because staying connected requires constant translation. I care, in his language, is solving problems. But everyone speaks, I care, as matching feelings. And translating between those languages over and over is exhausting. So distance becomes easier. It's not that he's pushing people away. He's just not working as hard to pull them close because the effort keeps disappointing. The energy you spend trying to connect gets misinterpreted as not caring enough. And after enough of those moments, stepping back starts to feel like the only reasonable choice. It's not rejection, it's survival. So here's what actually matters. Being different isn't being broken. Thinking differently isn't thinking wrong. Processing the world through logic instead of emotion isn't lacking emotions. It's just processing differently. A Sigma male isn't trying to be hard to understand. He's not trying to seem mysterious or cool or distant. He's just thinking in a way that doesn't match what most people do. And until people recognize that as different instead of deficient, the misunderstanding keeps going. He doesn't experience the world more loudly than everyone else. He experiences it further ahead. While people are still feeling the immediate moment, he's already thinking about tomorrow. While people are processing emotions, he's processing consequences. While people are matching energy, he's mapping outcomes. His mind is always a few steps ahead, seeing patterns that others haven't noticed yet, calculating outcomes that others haven't considered yet. This isn't a flaw. This isn't something that needs to be fixed. This is actually how some brains are built to work. And when you understand that, everything changes about how you see these people. If you're reading this and thinking, wait, that's me, then you're probably in that rare group. And you should know there's nothing wrong with you. The way you think is valid. The way you process information works. The way you care might be different than how other people show care, but it's real. Your calmness isn't coldness. Your thinking isn't attachment. Your problem solving isn't dismissal. You're just wired to see patterns, find solutions, and think about the future. And that's actually powerful. Most people are so caught up in how they feel right now that they can't see what's coming next. But you can. That's not a weakness. That's an advantage that most people will never understand until they're older and wishing they'd thought like you from the beginning. The hard part isn't figuring out how to think like everyone else. The hard part is finding people who get how you think without needing you to explain it. Because when you find those people, everything changes. Suddenly, you don't have to translate. Suddenly, being yourself doesn't feel like a problem. Suddenly, you can be exactly who you are, and it actually connects instead of confuses. Those people are rare, but they exist, and they're worth waiting for. If you're someone who's constantly misunderstood, keep being yourself. Don't change how you think to make other people comfortable. Your way of seeing the world has value. Your way of solving problems works. Your way of caring is real, even if it doesn't look like what they expect. Eventually, you'll find people who get it. Don't waste time with people who don't. If you're someone who meets people like this, try understanding instead of judging. Before you decide someone is cold, ask yourself, maybe they just show care differently. Before you think someone doesn't get it, ask, maybe they get it differently. Before you assume something's wrong with them, consider, maybe there's just something different about them. That willingness to understand instead of judge changes everything. If you're curious about why certain people are the way they are, remember, different doesn't mean broken. Different just means different. And different can be pretty incredible once you actually understand it. The world needs people who think logically when everyone else is panicking. It needs people who can stay calm in chaos. It needs people who think 3 steps ahead. It needs Sigma males, even if it doesn't always know how to appreciate them. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment if this made sense to you. Tell me if you recognized yourself in this. Tell me if you know someone like this. Tell me what you think. And if you're new here, subscribe because we talk about this stuff all the time. We break down personalities, psychology, mindset, all the things that make people tick. This community is built for people who think differently, people who question things, people who want to understand the world more deeply.